Well, thanks for coming out, guys. It is an exciting day for us, our second one. It's been an interesting process. This transition into this class was a lot different than last year, with the fact that we tried to split this class, have some high school players, have some old guys and transfers. So that's something we hadn't been through before, and so it's been an interesting process. Really proud of our staff. Football's a great game. It's never about one person, and it's never about one guy. Coach Ratliff did a really good job as our recruiting coordinator, leading this up and heading us in the right direction. But it takes everybody, and it took a lot of people involved to sign this class, and it's really is not finished. It's an ongoing class with more transfers probably to come down the road as we do put age on our team. But we feel like we got a good balance. Once again, we took the philosophy of trying to, have a value column and make sure our guys, might be able to play at one or two different positions because we're trying to fill a little everything. The only thing we didn't sign was a quarterback. That was intentional. So we did hit all the other positions and really feel good about the balance and the age factor. And really the class started last August when we started getting some guys in here. So some of the guys are currently on the team. Then we brought 3 more guys in January, and obviously we had signing day today. And hopefully going forward we'll have a few more guys join the team. So that's kind of where we are. Our class, we once again took 10 kids out of North Carolina. North Carolina continues to be a very important state for us and is basically our footprint of North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. I think we got 5 guys out of the state of South Carolina, which is really good. We're excited about that. Football down there is really good. We ended up taking a couple guys out of the state of West Virginia. Coach Ratliff, obviously came from Marshall, so we had some connections there in the state and feel like really excited about the guys we got out of that state. So, high school-wise, feel really good about it. And like I say, striking that balance was the interesting part for us going through this process and getting some older guys with it. So with that being said, anybody got questions?
I'm looking at this class. What were you trying to fill more positions in this class than maybe just getting guys in?
No. Well, yeah, we were really the same philosophy we had last year. We have to find somebody at every spot. We're trying to make sure we're adding depth to our football team across the board. We couldn't just go O-line, D-line. Last year we took the philosophy of building inside out. This year we had to once again find running back. We took 2 running backs. Allen's doing well, but he's the only one we've got. So we had to sign a couple of running backs. We had added some wideouts, took some offensive linemen, defensive line. We tried to spread it out, and we tried to put age kind of in each position. So that's what we're trying to do in this class, with all our positions.
What did you kind of learn from the first year that you kind of applied or got better at, I guess, so to speak, for the second year, having gone through this whole entire process once before?
Well, it was, yeah. I mean, the biggest thing is it was just different, but you realized how valuable it is to have facilities and for kids to come watch you practice. And we didn't have any of that last year. We were asking kids last year to really take a risk and take that leap of faith that we're going to hire the right people. They didn't know who the strength coach was going to be. This year's class was much easier from that standpoint of, hey, they could come watch us practice. They met Coach Durning in the weight room. They could walk in the training room, meet AJ. So that part was a lot easier. We stepped up in competition and had to compete against schools like Marshall and East Carolina and Southern Miss and those people in recruiting. So that was a little bit tougher, but obviously we know where we're going. The kids in the first class didn't know that. They didn't know what our league affiliation was going to be, and now they do, and they know we're going to be a Division I team. And so that was a lot easier from that standpoint. But I think the biggest thing for us was just we've got our facility. We're having our first press conference in this room. There's been a lot of firsts along the way, and here we are today. So it was easier for the kids once you could get them on campus.
Could you talk about the North Carolina footprint in this class and a little closer to home? I mean, you're in Kannapolis and you're pulling kids from Porter Ridge and that sort of thing. How important is it for you to kind of look heavily into Mecklenburg County, considering some of those big schools that have done so well in recent
Yeah,
years.
no question. Everything for us starts inside out, from our city moving out. And Coach Ratliff, basically he and Coach Sykes have this area. They've been in Charlotte, Mecklenburg County, and the surrounding area for a lot of years. Coach Sykes actually coached at Mallard Creek, so that's a huge point of emphasis for us, and it's vital to us to be successful. As we've got to make sure that we evaluate kids in this city and this surrounding area, and we won't get them all and we won't take them all, but we need to make sure we do a great job evaluating them and make sure we've done our homework on them.
Brad, can you talk about one, two, or three of the top kids that you feel you signed?
Well, I think the guy that stands out to me is Martez Maddox. I watched him in high school. I tried to recruit him to Wake Forest. I stood out there and watched him, throw the football around. He's just a phenomenal athlete, and really excited about him. His versatility was just a really athletic guy. I thought he could play quarterback in college, and for whatever reason, he left South Carolina. And Coach Gary and he are really close. He was on the staff, and that's actually where Coach Gary and I reconnected at that time when I was down there recruiting. And everything kind of comes back around in a circle. And Martez really, he had some good offers down the stretch. Louisiana Tech and Southern Mississippi, and he just is really close. Leroy Riles, and we're all got a good relationship, and that has a lot to do with recruiting. And I feel really good about our staff and developing relationships with people, and that one was real close for us, and he's the one I worried about because, I know he had some good offers, and that was a big hit for us. So, and Martez's a guy that can play either side of the ball. He wants to play defense, but, one of the things I learned from Coach Donnan, if you've got a great one, you might have to play him on both sides, and whether that's Champ Bailey or Troy Brown or whoever, and Martez's a guy that if he got in here and got the system down, could probably play on both sides of the ball. So I think he was I'm just excited that he's here and decided to come to Charlotte, and because he, like I say, he did have other options. I'm really excited about him. Eugene German is a guy that, he's up in Martinsburg, West Virginia, that, we went up there and got him, and I'm really excited about him. He's what you want in an offensive line, big athletic guy. Plays basketball. He's a guy that, we were competing hard with Marshall on him, and Phil did a great job recruiting that kid, and as a lot of our guys did. 2 or 3 different guys go up there and see him, but he's a guy I think can be an impact player, down the road. He's a guy that, has got all the skills. But those guys, I think Khalif Phillips, he's just a very talented guy. He's right here local at A.O. Brown. He's a guy that, got everything you're looking for. It was funny, I got to go to the Porter Ridge A.L. Brown game, and Khalif and Chris are playing against each other, and man, it was a lot of fun to sit there and watch those two guys go at each other. So 2 talented guys that, I think, got a chance to really be impact guys for you. So that's just a few. A lot of these guys are, Devin Johnson down at GMC's got a chance to come in and be an impact guy on our D-line. Guys we don't talk about, we didn't necessarily, release him. We released Michael Hunter already, but, this process started early on. Guys like Desmond Cooper, Micah Bryan's come off the baseball team's playing really well for us. We consider all those guys in this class. We took last year's class, and then this kind of started with, Daniel Blitch coming, Duke Mosby, Des Cooper, all these guys coming in, and so, those old guys will be impact guys for us. They're already in the program, but those are a couple of the guys I think that, coming out of this high school class.
Are these transfers that you announced today, are they enrolled now?
CJ, Michael, and Caleb are enrolled, the ones we announced. Johnson, Maddox, and Williams are not. James is a DB out of California that'll come in and play corner for us. Martez we've talked about, and then Johnson's a defensive lineman, over at Georgia Military College. So the guys on campus, Mosby, Cooper, Bryan, Blitch, and Danny Book, guys that transferred in that are a little bit older. Danny Book's a guy from Hickory Ridge that's starting at tackle for us right now. So, some of those guys we just kind of fell into them, but they've come in and done a good job. So, and that's what we were looking for. We need some older guys that'll be sophomores, juniors, and seniors in the fall. So hopefully there'll be a few more to come, when we get down the road.
How did the kid from the James Williams, the California kid, how did that come about? It seems like a big move.
Well, it is. We were intentional this year about going to California to the junior college system, and we went out there and looked. And James was one that we came away with. We had, I don't know, 4 or 5 guys in on official visits from out there. But that junior college system out there is really big. There are a lot of schools, a lot of kids. And so that was one place we wanted to go and make sure we look and see if we could find some older guys.
Coach, can you talk about the running backs and trying to get some more? You briefly touched on Cleve Phillips, but you also brought in Chris Duffy and Jock Watkins from New Bern. And, those 2 kids, Duffy and Watkins, put up a show for the 4-H.
Yeah.
Can you just talk a little bit about getting some high quality and caliber kids?
Yeah, well, those 2 guys, I think Coach Mullen told me he was at that game and scored 49 points between the 2 of them. Watkins is a guy that, we're going to play him at H. He's an H-back for us. He's kind of the perfect guy that we look for in an H-back. He's probably not a tailback in college. He's too big for that. He's not a tight end, but he's a guy that we can play at fullback. We can play him at tight end. We can split him out. When we look at our H position, a guy that's got to line up in different spots, he's exactly what we're looking for. So really excited about Watkins. I mean, he's a guy that, very, very productive guy, and he's a good student. And once again, all these guys, fit in that mold of what we're looking for character-wise. We feel like they're good guys and guys we want to be around. And that's the fun part for me. I get to go to all of them's homes, and I kind of the coaches kind of get in their area, but I get a chance to go see all the families and be around all of them. So it's a lot of fun for me. And this class has, got a lot of good kids in it, so we're excited about that. But those 2 guys are just highly productive guys. Duffy's at Porter Ridge, and we've got several guys from that school on our team, and they just hadn't lost many games in the last couple of years. They've been to back-to-back state championships, and, they lost to New Bern in the state championship. So those guys know what it is to win, and they know how to win, and highly productive guys.
So kind of send a statement out there when you're able to go pluck talent away from like Mallard Creek and New Bern and Porter Ridge programs that have just been extremely successful over the last.
Well, I think the biggest thing it says is, we're just real intentional about, being in North Carolina and making sure we do all of our homework and a great job evaluating kids in the state of North Carolina. I've told the Josh Bush story several times to a lot of different people, and Josh came to Wake Forest and nobody really wanted him, but we did our homework and we evaluated him, and he's playing for the New York Jets now. So there are guys in the state. You just got to make sure our guys, and they know that that's what we want. We want them out in this city. And the guys, I can't be, as I said earlier, our staff has done an unbelievable job. They're all the kind of guys that they love going recruiting, and that's what you have to have, because ultimately we have to have good players, and our guys like to go out, and they're relational guys, and they get in good with the kids and the coaches, and that's paying dividends for us.
Coach, you're talking about wanting to get some more age in your roster with the transfers and stuff like that. Obviously, the game's played on the field, but on paper, do you have enough age? Do you want more age?
Yeah, I would like to get a couple more guys. Hopefully, we're holding some age. We want to make sure that that's what we at the limit with our high school guys, and we just had a point where we just had to stop with high school, and those were some tough decisions because there's a lot of good high school players that we couldn't go on or we didn't go on, and yet because we had to put age on our team, we knew what we had to do. But it's a situation where we'd like to get a few more. Feel good where we are, but we're not at full strength by any stretch, and we'll phase that in over time. When we get to 85 in 2015, but we're taking it in steps, and I think ultimately this fall we take the field, we'll probably be about 57 or 58 scholarship players. I think that's the way it'll shake out once we get there, and then try to take that next step in 2014, and then obviously to meet the FBS requirements, you have to be at 85 in 2015 and average a certain number over a 2-year period. So we know where we have to be, and it's just a matter of getting there. And we couldn't go all together. We couldn't put everybody in one, two or three classes, because then we would fall off the cliff in 2015 or 16, and we wouldn't be able to replace them. So that's the way we've got to phase it in.
Coach, you talked about not recruiting a quarterback. I guess that says a statement of you kind of settled in, or you're kind of pleased with where the quarterback position is right now?
That's correct. We like where our two guys are coming out of fall, where we are going into the spring. You know, we'll see what happens if we get an old guy to come in. Quarterback's such a, you know, it's unlike any other position. You generally play one guy, so it's not like coaching the middle linebacker, where if I sub the middle linebacker out during the middle of the second quarter, nobody really knows. But if you sub the quarterback out, everybody knows. So it's a unique position, and I feel good about the two guys we have. And you know, at the same time, we'll see what happens with transfer if anybody comes available.
Coach, looking at some of the kids that you got out of South Carolina, Jamar Winston, Justin Bridges-Thompson, Nicholas Howman, can you just comment a little bit on what they bring to the table? And they're all defensive players. Just what do you see out of them? What you saw when you first watched them on tape?
Well, the first thing with Jamar that strikes you when he walks in the room, you know, when you walk around the school with him, or he walks in this place, he's got a duck through every door he goes through. You know, he's 6'8", and you feel like you're recruiting a basketball player. I mean, he's a tall guy that can really move well, and so just, you know, brings a lot to our defensive line. I mean, he's got a chance to really be a run stopper. I think everything's ahead of him because he's so big, and I think, you know, a year in the weight room, he's gonna really change his body a lot. He's got a huge frame, and I'm just really excited that we got him. Justin's a guy that I just love being around him, man. He's an infectious guy. He came on his visit, and I just really like being around him. He's an edge guy, can come off the edge, very athletic guy, can run, got length to him. He's a mature kid physically, and I think he's a guy that can give you some impact plays coming off the edge. Nick Hallman really reminds me of Daquan Lucas. I mean, you know, very, very similar players, and Luke's come in here, is doing a great job for us now. And I think, you know, Nick's got a chance to start at corner, play safety. I mean, he's a guy that can run, he's physical, and we really see they're pretty similar in size and style, and that's what I really like about Nick is he reminds me of Daquan a lot, and Daquan's really had a good fall for us, and you know, that's a guy we came into late last year. He wasn't in the signing class last year. You know, he had actually went to Miami of Ohio, and for whatever reason didn't stay there, and we got him in the summer because he was a teammate of James Middleton's. So really like what Nick can bring to the table from a speed and physicality standpoint, our secondary.